you know, I don't know him other than the 3 hours that I talked to him when he was trying to be at his best.
And
right?
Kamala Harris has not said yes yet.
She's not said no either. People keep saying she said no. I said I would have a conversation with her like a human being. That's all I want to do. That's literally all I want to do.
But that's trouble.
I want to know
her.
what is it like to be. I don't even give a fuck about all the stuff she's talked about policies and all these different things. We know her positions.
Yeah.
Like, who are you?
We are back with some more JRE clips. For those who don't know, that's Joe Rogan. Right now, he's about to indulge in the interview that he just had previously with Donald Trump, and he will also talk about will Kamala also be his next guest appearance on the show. Let's see how this is about to play out. Don't forget, if you like reactions like this, consider hitting that like button. Definitely subscribe to the channel and also hit the notification bell. Let's see how this is about to play out. Let's go.
When I first got to Spotify, I was willing to do it for two reasons. One, because it was a ton of money, and two, because I wanted to be like 10% less famous.
Yeah.
I was like, wouldn't that be nice?
Boy, did that
I heard you
backfire.
said that to me.
Because people are like, oh, you're going to go into obscurity. I'm like, great.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
You'll be like Howard Stern. No one's going to... I was like, perfect. Perfect. Give me the money.
Yeah.
I got other interests, man.
Yeah,
give me the
Were
loot.
were you at all nervous for Trump?
I was definitely hyped up. I was excited. Because I wanted to... There's a lot of questions I need to answer.
Did you feel
know?
pressure?
No.
No
No,
pressure.
not pressure.
Pressure
No.
mean like make sure you covered everything you want to cover.
No. Just like I knew what was important.
Did you
not
prepare for it?
necessarily. Yeah.
Did you
And-
ask him
but
why he was
also-
so pro-vaccine?
No, I didn't. But I also wanted to be rigid because there was a moment where he brought up the polio vaccine. I was like, oh, I don't want to correct him. I don't want to show like when the. Have you ever seen the chart of when polio actually dropped off
Yeah.
when the vaccine was introduced?
I reference
Or was
it
at
all the
very
time.
end?
It's all bullshit.
Yeah.
That's a rough one. That's
Yeah.
when you look at the actual like. There's a bunch of them. Measles is another one,
But
and you
wanna
look
get
at what
him
actually
involved in
happened.
Vaccine talk as a president.
Exactly. And I don't want to get involved in a podcast where there's a lot of shit I want to get to.
Yeah.
I want to know what the fuck is in the JFK files.
Did you?
You know,
That's
yeah,
what
we talked
what
about
did he say?
that.
I didn't see that part because I've seen
He
half.
said there's a
so
lot
far
of
I'm
people that
halfway
are
through.
still alive. And I said, okay, so that's why you wouldn't release it because some of the people that are going to be implicated are still alive. So what that's saying to me is that the government was involved. in the
100%.
assassination.
Everybody knows
But
that.
I believe that if that was to come out, if that was to actually come out, those people's lives would definitely be in danger. We have too much radical people, floating and mixing and mingling around us daily. Two, the government, oh man, they would be in for it. The government will have a whole lot to deal with at that point right there. It would be hard to undo that, you understand? But it is what it is. They've been doing this to us for, what, decades, maybe centuries, you understand?
kind of like he danced a little.
The politician came out.
No, he's real good at you ask him a question and he starts to answer it, but then he takes you on a totally different route.
The weave.
You gotta bring him back in, but you gotta be respectful. So it's like I knew that's the way he does it, but I'm like I understand what you're doing, sir. But let's get it back to what I was asking you.
Yeah, you did that. You did that a couple times.
I was like, I want to know what that first fucking day is like, and I don't think I really got that answer out of him.
I don't think he remembers.
Well, I think he does. What I'm talking about is like this feeling of now you have to appoint 10,000 people, and now you have to figure out how this machine works when you've never governed at all, and they don't show you any of that when you're running for president. It's not like a training program, like, hey, Brendan, you might be president, so we're going to show you this is how deals get made.
I like what he said about John Bolton. He said, yeah, he's a whack job, but you know what was cool about him? When I went to fucking Iran and I had John Bolton, they all knew he was he was ready to drop bombs. He's called him a whack job, but he had his purpose.
That kind of mindset. You know, the problem with the Trump stuff is just that the people look at the inflammatory things he says, the crazy shit, and they define it by that. But you also have to remember this is a very bizarre combination of an entertainer and a businessman. So it's an entertainer that, like, he's like a comedian, man. He says funny shit. He does it all the time.
Very funny.
He's always when he makes fun of Biden.
Constantly roasting.
He's funny, man.
New York.
You know why? He's from New York City. Queens, New York City at that. You understand? You gotta have thick skin when you're coming from Queens, get the money.
Very New York.
I mean, it's the fact that the nicknames he gives to people, that they have to be funny.
Tim.
Yeah. If they weren't, if it wasn't funny, he wouldn't use it. Like Tampon Tim.
Yeah,
But my point is,
Hold on.
people don't know what to do with that.
Yeah.
And they want to pretend that all these other people are somehow or another like morally better because you don't get to see the real them. Like, I don't buy that. I don't think you should either. I don't think that's how people really are. I think, and when you see over and over and over and over again the media manipulating things and lying about things to make him seem way worse than he is.
Call him Hitler?
Yeah, that right there, calling him Hitler, is funny because they have the audacity to call him Hitler for trying to do the rally at Madison Square Garden. It seems like anything he do, they always try to correlate him and Hitler. Always trying to figure out how they could mingle the two and say that he's for everything that Hitler was for. When all of that is just a bunch of bullshit. You understand? I could show you an example. At the rally, you actually had Jewish people there. So if it was a Hitler rally, why would Jewish people really be there? I mean, make it make sense. But, you know, the same way how people believe in Project 2025, which I believe is a deterrent for you not to go to his actual site and watch his actual plan or read it, which is called Agenda 47. But you understand what I mean? They're going to keep pitching this 2025 and they're just going to, you know, they're going to keep pointing you in the direction. They're going to keep sending you in the direction that they want you. So this is why you got to think for yourself and be critical when it comes to it.
You should be suspicious.
Yes.
You should be
There's
real
a reason why they're doing that.
Exactly.
Joe,
Because they don't want to lose that job. They're in desperado mode now.
Did you have a different perspective after? Like you don't know him well, right?
I don't know him at all.
But
I
after sitting
literally
down for 3
never
hours-
had a conversation with him other than "nice to meet you, sir." And he complimented me. I said, "Thank you. You're really good at this UFC stuff."
Yeah,
like
no
that kind of
shit.
thing. Like, thank you,
But
sir.
after 3 hours, did you have a different impression of him or no?
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's a businessman. Bottom line, he likes making deals. That's what it is. Like, that's his whole thing. And he's got this ability to just keep going. This is what's crazy. Like, the podcast is 3 hours long. The guy didn't pee before the podcast. He didn't pee after the podcast.
Maybe he had a
just
little
left.
catheter.
Maybe
And he
was
drinks
wearing a
more
diaper.
Diet Cokes than me.
But he didn't drink anything during the podcast.
Gangster.
He just sat here and we talked, and they were freaking out there because he was 2 hours late for something he was doing in Michigan. He didn't give a fuck. He's like, I know this is going to be bigger than that. Let's just keep going. We did 3 hours.
Damn.
But at the end of it, he's, you know, I don't know him other than the 3 hours that I talked to him when he was trying to be at his best.
And
right?
Kamala Harris has not said yes yet.
She hasn't said no either. People keep saying she said no.
Her
I
team's
said I
smart.
would have a conversation with her like a human being.
You know Kamala is scared to go on Joe Rogan for 3 hours? That's too much filibuster. She won't be able to fill those in. And word just came in that the only way that she will be willing to do the interview is with certain stipulations and conditions. And he's not with all that. You know, she wants him to fly out there and, you know, it got to be specific based, safe softball questions. And I mean, that's not being authentic right there. You understand what I mean? Again, it's being scripted. She never says anything different anyway. She says the same thing all the time. She went on Shannon Sharp, said the very same thing she said on MSNBC, same thing she said on CNN. I mean, the list goes on. So let's be serious right now.
That's all I want to do. That's literally all I want to do.
But that's trouble
I want to
for
know
her.
what is it like to be. I don't even give a fuck about all the stuff she's talked about policies and all these different things. We know her positions.
Yeah.
Like, who are you?
Just be real.
Who are you?
The crazy thing
That's right.
with
That's
Kamala
that's
is
the most. She would be well served to step into the lion's den.
No, she's
and
not, though,
take it
because she
on.
can't do it.
And
I
be
would
honest.
be willing to talk about anything other than politics. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't give a
You wanna
fuck.
know who she is.
Like, if there were some certain things they didn't want to talk about, like, fine, I don't care. Let's talk. I want to know who you are.
Yes.
I can find out who you
So do-
are if
so
we
do
can
the rest
talk
of
about
us.
sports.
So do
it's
the rest of
crazy
us.
how she does interview after interview and they're just like disasters, and you would think that
Because
she would
they're
study
interviews.
and
This
just
is
like
the thing. They're
you know what I mean?
interviews. It's a fucked up way to talk that no one's used to doing.
Yeah.
Here's the way it is. Here's a question. Give me an answer. And you're like, well, I think that it's not a fucking conversation. It's not a conversation. So it's a weird. So you're uncomfortable with your words and you're trying to get it out right. And you realize millions of people fucking hate you and don't think you should be in that position in the first place.
When she begins to answer a question with, I'm glad you asked that. Thank you.
Yo,
I'm like,
she
oh my
always
God.
does that.
You know it's coming.
You know what's coming.
Well, she steers it back to the same
Thanks
talking
you for
points.
asking a
What a
question
brilliant
about
question.
the 20 million illegals coming through the border unvetted. I'm glad you asked that.
No. She steers it back to the same talking points. She steers it back to I'm a middle class. I come from a middle class family. I like small businesses.
heard that
It's
so
always
much.
back to the same
And groceries.
5 things.
And they go, what about inflation? And then she goes, it's everything. You're right. I'm glad you asked that question. Groceries, gas,
But
everything. Families are struggling.
Yeah.
Families, and then
But no plan.
If she saw this right here, she's definitely not gonna go to his show. She's not gonna go. This right here, she probably feels like, oh man, they gonna go in on me. Pause, no Diddy, but hey, it is what it is. They are speaking no lies.
There's no. I need to hear what you want to
no
do
policy.
about it.
you
Yeah,
would
she has
think
no
her
idea.
handlers would go, this is the plan. When they ask you about inflation, say we're going to do this and
I'm
we're going to do
telling
that.
you, the
They
way
don't tell her shit.
the way they're doing it is very unnatural. And if you take a person that clams up when they have to talk publicly and you put them in unnatural environments,
Yes.
you incite all kinds of anxiety inside
right.
of them.
That's
It's a
right.
terrible way to communicate.
I don't think this would go better for her. I just don't think it's her thing.
3 hours. If she gave
Brendan,
you
I'm
3
trying to
hours.
sell it, and you're
You
fucking
think-
it up for me.
Maybe Kamala could sing or something.
No, I think if Samad.
You know what I mean? If she could sing, sign her to a bad boy record contract, you know what I mean?
I think that company is going out of business. You might want to do some research.
Can you imagine the stock of bad boy right now? Whoa!
Bro, dudes are doing Kamala ads and moving to Europe.
Yeah, people always are tripping on the baby oil, right? With the Diddy thing, they're tripping on the baby, like 1,000 bottles of baby oil. I'm like, yeah, there's probably about 1,000 people at his parties, right? And everybody,
768 dildos.
Hey,
Wild
yo.
boy.
Bro,
overkill. Where are they going?
imagine a Diddy party with no lube. Come on, man. Come on,
painful,
man.
Doug.
You gotta.
I bet he doesn't even. I bet Diddy's not even gay. I bet it's just he really enjoys fucking guys. Just so he said he
Power?
fucked them.
Yeah, it's a power.
Hey.
I bet it's a
Yeah.
crazy.
Does that make him gay, though?
Crazy. Yes, it does.
I'd say it would
Crazy.
I think that makes you gay. I don't know. I'm not the president of that, but I think it makes you gay. You understand what I mean?
Drugged up power move.
Yeah.
You know.
It's not
I
full.
can understand putting somebody in a headlock, but
Also,
fucking him, that's a lot.
filming everybody and having dirt on everybody, like it's a crazy
Epstein style.
organized crime. But it makes you think, like, is this guy
He's the
doing it on
original
his
Raymond
own?
Reddington.
Like, who's above this motherfucker?
Is that?
Come
but
on,
is
Eddie.
that the
We both
case? Is he doing it on his own? Of
course
he's
not.
but maybe he is.
He's not. And also, it's funny the celebrities coming out to support Kamala. You're like, what the
Yeah.
fuck are you
All of
doing?
them moving to
and they're
Europe.
like dancing.
Yeah.
Like, we love Kamala. Usher.
Beyonce came out last night.
Yeah,
She
but
was
that
all like,
actually
yo.
hurts her. When Americans
In
see like
Texas.
somebody who's a billionaire support, it's like Beyonce. Most people don't have anything in common with her, so when
Yeah,
that happens, it doesn't usually
Yeah,
go
anybody
well for
that
politicians.
any celebrity that comes out and
They did it for
supports
Hillary
Kamala,
Clinton. Didn't
they
work for her.
probably went to parties. You know what I mean?
100%.
They probably
or they
did.
just
And
want to
they're
be
worried.
cool.
No,
But
no,
I
it's
just
not cool.
think it's really weird to ask someone who lies for a living what they think the president should be. That's a lot of actors. They're
Yes.
just professional liars. The
Correct.
whole
Facts.
thing
Pretending.
they're doing is they're pretending they're someone else.
You have to be if you wanna
And you
work.
want them to be super sincere when they tell you who to vote for.
Oh,
I believe it's
but who's
time
that
that a woman
influencing?
becomes
The
president.
fact that they keep pushing that Trump is Hitler and he promised to be a
Hey, yo,
dictator.
we're
It's a
missing
great
a
fight.
banger
Danny Gay
here.
and Murphy. Murphy's a motherfucker.
and
dude.
undefeated.
I hope Kamala says yes. 3 hours.
I hope
you
she
settle
says
into
yes
who you
too.
really are in 3
I
hours.
don't
You
know if
can't
she would
hide
do
for
3
3
hours. They probably want to do like an hour.
You're going to get 22 minutes.
I'll get an hour.
I don't know, man. 22 minutes.
22 minutes with bullet points.
You know, it's
The
like
hour's
no
whack.
one knows who these fucking people are.
Right.
Get into her favorite sexual
But we do know who
positions.
Trump
I
is.
would.
We do know who
I think
Trump
someone
is,
out
good or
didn't
bad.
that call her daddy girl? Didn't they start talking about bedroom stuff?
Yeah. I like cowgirl.
It's a very good comment.
Goodness! Oh my goodness! You son of a bitch!
But really, reverse cowgirl on New Year's Eve and 4th of July, that's my favorite.
Well, she does. She gives good cooking tips. ever see her good cooking tips?
Does she? What does she say?
Tells people how to
use
cook,
beef
cook
tallow.
stuff.
Beef tallow.
She'll probably be like, no, seed oils are the best. They're getting a bad rap.
I like-
You got to
towel's
stick
too
with
right-wing.
seed oil.
Beef towel's too right wing.
Exactly.
I like
too broad.
sunflower oil.
Joe, did you ask Trump about the assassination? Like, there's nothing on it?
Yeah, I
There's
didn't
no one
ask him
asking
about
questions?
that. It's hard to corral him. Like I said, he's like very slippery. No, and I don't even mean that in a bad way. I mean that he just like he talks.
Yeah,
the guy's a
he goes.
gifted talker. He can just talk. You never have to worry about him running out of things to say. And sometimes he talks himself into corners, but he gets out of it, you know. But it's just like he free balls. That's what he does. And so when I was talking to him about the assassin, he was just joking around. He got it. We started talking about the UFC because I wanted to see the scar on his ear. He does have a little mark on his ear.
Yeah.
He did have a mark?
Yeah, he does
He
have
got shot.
It's a small mark on his, but your ear is filled with blood vessels. That's why it bleeds
a
so
lot,
much.
yeah.
It heals quick.
quickly, yeah.
So he was just talking about Bo Nickel and
Yeah.
cauliflower ear. And next thing he wanted to talk about who's the best ever. Like
He
he's
didn't
a
want to
real
talk about it.
He's a real. Well, he did a little bit, but he said it was surreal when he won the presidency. It wasn't surreal when he got shot. I thought that was fascinating.
Wow.
He said being in the White House was surreal. He goes walking into Lincoln's bedroom. He goes, it was very surreal. Like,
Yeah.
but when he actually got into the White House, he said it just didn't make any sense. It was very, very surreal.
What-
he said getting shot did not seem surreal. He goes, he was
Yeah.
on the ground. He knew who he was. They thought he was shot all over the place because of the blood, because it was, the fog of confusion, and there's blood on his face, and nobody knew where he had been hit. So they were all, and they got him out of there. But when he stands up and says, fight, 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 that is
but they've
one of the
erased
most,
it.
The most American
things of all time.
ever.
Of all time.
Ever.
Of all time. And you can't fake that. That guy got shot. He didn't know if people were still out there shooting. Nobody knew what
That's
the fuck
real.
was going on. And that guy stood up and said, fight, fight, fight. And he got out of there.
What do you?
I feel like he probably thought it was about to be over for him, and he said, "You know what? I can't go out looking like no punk. Hey, yo, look, listen, fight, fight, fight. Just in case I can't, might. You understand what I mean?"
I want to ask Kamala.
I want to talk to her like a human being. I would say, what is the experience like of being the vice president? You never had any kind of national exposure at this level. Like, what is that? What is the pressure of that like? Like, what's it like when you get in there, when you want to do things and you can't make them happen? Like, what do you think you can do differently as the president versus what you've been doing as the vice president? Is it frustrating to not be able to do the things you want to do? What do you think that you could do to fix certain things that the world thinks are a real problem in this country? Just give people.
Right. Give her some time.
I might not agree with her. I don't know. But let her talk.
Well, she was a DA. She had a big girl job. It's not like she had a real job.
I like how you say big girl job.
You know what I mean?
Sexist piece
Yeah,
of
you
shit.
piece of shit.
It's
What
a big
piece
job.
of
It's just
shit.
a big job.
It's a good job.
It's a big boy, big girl job. It's a real job. But you know what I'm saying? Like being a DA is a real
It's a
job.
good job.
gotta
That's why
fix
I'm so
that.
surprised that she doesn't have more
Dude,
confidence.
it's a different skill talking in front of an audience when
Yeah.
people hate you.
Yeah.
Okay, there's a whole thing going
She's
on
got a
where the
sympathetic
amount
press.
no, it doesn't matter. The amount of people that don't think she should be there. She never won the primary. That's got to be in your head.
1% of the
you got,
primary she
You got
got.
put in there. You know it was kind of a coup.
Yeah.
I mean, Jim Gaffigan even made that joke at
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
Al
Yeah.
Smith dinner.
Yeah.
That it's kind of a coup.
And they're constantly telling her not to cackle, right? And then when she does, in her head, she's thinking,
So she's
everyone's
in her
on the
head.
side
So
going,
she's-
fuck
Yeah.
you. Everybody on the side goes, shut the fuck.
It's a terrible way to find out who a person is. It's a terrible way. Debates are a terrible way.
It has to be tough.
Talking publicly when you're reading off a teleprompter is a terrible way. The pressure, the amount of people that are fucking... Look,
Yeah.
I've been a host on a show before, and one of the things that happens is you get all these executives in your ear, and they're all telling you, do this, do that, don't do this, don't do that, and it starts to fuck with your head.
Yes.
It fucks with your head.
So you
know,
would just talk to her. You just want to have a conversation.
a conversation.
Do not fucking cackle. Listen, like they're probably telling her,
all kinds of shit.
You better keep
Yeah,
that
it
fucking
can't
mouth
be
shut.
easy. It can't
Also,
be easy.
she's going. Here's the deal, right? She's going from campaign stop to campaign stop to campaign stop. How much room is in there for reading? How much room is in there for
no room.
learning about these policies? How
You're
much?
not sleeping.
Hey, you got a point right there. I don't see it happening. I mean, if it does, I think it's gonna be super scripted, just like all her other previous interviews, and she's still not gonna let you know who she is. She comes across very sheltered and mysterious, but not in a good way. You understand? She leaves so much questions available because there's no answers. A lot of questions up for grabs, but no answers. That's not a good look right there. Let me know how you feel about this interview right here. Do you think Kamala eventually will be on Joe Rogan, or do you think she's going to dismiss it? Let me know. Go in the comments, run it up, flood it up. See you guys in the next one.